Bismillah Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is your teacher, Miss Hera Abbasi. Today, I would like to welcome you all in Happy Home online classes. How are you, my dear students? I hope and pray that all of you are fine. I missed all of you a lot. Inshallah, we will meet soon. Today is your science class, and our topic for today is day and night. This this is unit 5 and it is taken from your science textbook. Okay students, what is day and night? It is day when our part of the earth is facing the sun, and it is night when our part of the earth is turned away from the sun, as you can see in the pictures. What is the sun? The sun is the biggest star. It is the main source of light on earth. What is Earth? Earth is a planet. It is sphere in shape like a ball. Students, do you know Earth has two poles, North Pole and South Pole? What is the equator? Children, the equator is an imaginary line that divides the Earth into two parts from east to west. Do you know that the countries lie near the equator are very hot? Can anyone tell me the reason? Okay, I'll tell you. The countries near the equator are hot because the sunlight is coming directly most of the time on equator. As we all know that the earth is sphere in shape, that is why the countries that are away from the equator are cold. What is an axis? The axis of an earth is an imaginary line drawn from North Pole to South Pole through the center of the earth. Children, that means that axis and equator are both imaginary lines that are dividing the earth into two parts. The equator is dividing the earth into two parts from east to west, and axis is dividing the earth into two parts from north to south. What is a shadow? This is your favorite part. Everybody loves to make shadows. Children, do you remember we have made these shadows in our science class? So, what is a shadow? When the light from any source is blocked by an object, it forms a dark patch. This is called a shadow. You can easily make shadows at home. You just need a torch, any object. What you have to do is switch off the lights of your room, make the room dark, use the torch and the object, and enjoy making shadows. Children, have you ever noticed that our shadows are changing throughout the day? Do you know the reason behind it? Shadows are changing during the day because we have the sun on different position throughout the day. Like in the morning, the sun is on our east side, so our shadow is falling on the west side. In the same way, in the afternoon, the sun is on our west side, so the shadow is falling on the east side. Remember, do not look directly at the sun. It might hurt your eyes. In summer and at midday, the sun is very powerful. It can burn our skin even though it is far away. So if you are going out during the day or in summer, you need to cover your body with clothes, and you should wear sunglasses and cap to save yourself from sunlight. Okay, children, now I'm going to show you a video to have a better understanding about the topic. Enjoy the video, everyone.
Have you ever noticed, maybe on a nice summer evening and you're running around outside, that your shadow looks super long, but then, at other times of the day, it's really short? What's up with that? Does your shadow have a mind of its own, like Peter Pan's? Nope. I mean, I hope not. That would be strange. To understand how shadows move over time, let's talk about what a shadow is exactly. Say you're standing outside in the sun and you spot your body's shadow. Your body is solid. That means it can block sunlight. Since sunlight can't pass through your body, it makes a dark area behind it, opposite from the direction the sun is coming from. This dark part where the sunlight can't reach is your shadow. So why doesn't this dark patch stay in the same spot throughout the day? Well, for one thing, you move, so your shadow moves with you. But let's pretend you stand in the same spot all day long. No, wait, that sounds super boring. Just picture something that doesn't move around, like a tree or a building. Its shadow would still move throughout the day. That's because the shadow is made by the light of the sun, and the sun is constantly moving in the sky. Well, you know it's not really the sun that's moving. You should definitely check out our video about how the Earth moves or rotates on its axis, making the sun appear to move across the sky. Even though it constantly seems to be changing where it is in the sky, some people know exactly where the sun's gonna be at certain points during the day. In fact, ancient civilizations thousands of years ago used the sun like a giant clock. They could tell what time it was based on the sun's position in the sky. How'd they figure that out? Because the sun follows a certain pattern every day. These civilizations saw the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, day after day. Soon they were able to guess what time it was based on where the sun was on its path from east to west. Cool, huh? And since the movement of the sun follows patterns during the day, so does the movement of shadows. Any idea what those shadow patterns might look like? Let's find out. We'll follow the sun for a day and see how it changes the shadow of a specific object. Then we can chart the length and the direction of the shadow from morning to evening to see which patterns we can spot. First, let's pick an object that stands still, not running around all crazy. Like, how about a lamppost? Say one that's about 4 meters tall. Now let's start early in the morning, 7 a.m. Sun, show us what you got. The lamppost has a pretty long shadow this early in the morning, and it looks like it's extending to the west. What happens to the shadow if we fast forward to 9 a.m.? Interesting. The shadow's still pretty long, but not quite as long as at 7 a.m. And it's still stretching out towards the west. So let's see what happens at 11 a.m. Well, look at that. The shadow's even shorter, but again, still pointing westward. So in the morning, it looks like the lamppost shadow starts out long and gets shorter as we get closer to noon. But they all extend to the west. What happens at noon? Hardly any shadow. The sun is high in the sky at noon, almost directly overhead. Depending on where on Earth an object is, its shadow will usually point north or south at noon rather than east or west. Let's see what happens to the shadow in the afternoon, jumping to 2 p.m. Looks like the shadows are getting a little bit longer again now that the sun's going lower in the sky. But unlike in the morning, the shadow is now pointing east. Will the shadow continue to get longer at 4 p.m.? Yep. It's definitely getting longer, still pointing east, too. How about 6 p.m.? The shadow's about as long as it was in the morning, right? But again, unlike in the morning, the shadow is stretching out towards the east. So what patterns did we see the lamppost shadow follow? Let's look at these two bar graphs that recorded our observations. In the first graph, we've charted the length of the lamppost shadows. Based on what we observed with the lamppost, the sun created long shadows in the morning when it was rising in the east. When it was almost directly overhead at noon, the shadows were shorter. Then, as the sun set in the west in the afternoon, the shadows got longer again. And what did we observe about the direction the shadows were going in at certain points of the day? Well, like the second graph shows us, we saw that the shadows in the morning and afternoon faced two different directions, and the midday shadow was somewhere in between. So graph number 1 shows us that when the sun is low in the sky, shadows are long. When it's high in the sky, shadows are short. Graph number 2 shows us that whatever direction the sun is in the sky, the shadows it creates will point in the opposite direction. So now you know what a shadow is, and that it changes in both length and direction during the day, depending on where the sun is in the sky. Basically, the sun is your shadow's boss. Yes, sun, no sun, whatever you say, sun.
Children, did you enjoy the video? Okay, let's watch another video to learn about shadows.
Light and shadow. Light. We always have a question in our mind. Why can we see so many stars at night, but only one star during the day? Stars are always in the sky, but the sun, being the brightest of all, hides the other stars during the daytime. It is the only natural source of light. It helps us to see everything around us. It also gives us heat. At night, we cannot see anything because there is no sun. But we need light to see objects. We get this light from different man-made objects like bulbs, tube lights, candles, torches, diyas, etc. The sun and shadows.
The sun is also the cause of shadows. When the light of the sun is blocked by an object, the dark area beside that object is called a shadow. Let us do an activity. Go out in the sun at different times of the day and observe your own shadow. Move in different ways and see how your shadow changes. Play games with your shadow. The position of the sun decides the length of a shadow. At noon, the sun is overhead, so there is hardly any shadow. In the morning and afternoon, when the sun is in the east and the west, you block the sun's rays and your shadow is long. In the morning, your shadow is in the west. In the evening, your shadow is in the east. You cannot see a shadow when the sun is covered by clouds. Shadows can be seen only in the presence of light. Let us have some fun with shadows. Use a dark room and a torch. Put different objects in front of the torchlight and watch the shadows. Now, by using your hands, try to form shadows of animals on the wall. Try to touch something and see if your shadow touches it too. Now, gently try to move your hand in such a way that your shadow continues to touch it.
Now, you know that you should not be scared of your shadow, as it means that there is light somewhere near you.
Children, I hope you have learned something new from today's class. Inshallah, your teacher will be back with another topic in the next class. Till then, everyone, take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.